obviously, there's been a lot of fan reaction to Myles Garrett. People are pretty worked up. I think that generally the fan base is angry about this trade, which I get. People don't want to hear about draft picks because they've been hearing about draft picks forever. It's hard to believe the Browns are going to turn it around because they haven't.
Yeah.
And so I don't blame people for being angry.
Yeah.
They're like, we get this defensive lineman. Okay, he's not Myles Garrett, and then we got a bunch of draft picks. Who knows what the hell we're going to do with him?
I always say there's something to be said about, keeping your legends, bro. Like, Baltimore Ravens, Ed Reed and
Ray Lewis.
Like, the Steelers keep all their dudes. Hayward just can't take like, I just want that for our Browns players, and it just seems like, as a fan, we just don't get it. So it's just, I can understand. I ain't going to tell nobody not to be mad because for once we had the best player. It's hard for us to ever say that. We had the best player, one of the best players in the league. And when you lose that, it sucks.
Jason, what's your Myles Garrett memory that most stands out in your mind?
2, 1, the play against the Titans when he kept moving around and he drew a delay of game because the tight ends kept chasing him up and down the line of scrimmage. So he just kept moving around and they ended up getting a delay of game out of it. And then when he jumped the line in Indianapolis to block the field goal,
he won that game by himself too.
That was crazy,
bro.
So those 2,
Listen, the one that I always will imagine is the game against the Chicago Bears where Myles Garrett was out there like he was crossing up with the hesitation. Oh, baby.
That was the Bengals, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was the Bengals.
The Bengals was the crossover.
Like he had to, but then he had the year, and then he
had a 6-sack game against the Bears in 21.
And then he was the first one to come with the Euro step, like the Euro step off the edge, bro. I said, bro, this guy is really making up moves. Like he's making moves out here, bro. Like, and it's like, just to see him as a defensive player, like to play the same position, but he's playing it at a whole different level. Yeah. Just the fact that he could be that low to the ground. And then crazy, he literally Wolverine flipped his car and still played like it was the rest of the season.
Yeah. I will remember the 125-mile-an-hour driving. I'll remember the 6 sacks against the Bears. I'll remember the crossover against the Bengals. Last year we had a 5-sack game against
the Patriots. They lost by 19.
The Patriots only got killed. I'll remember him breaking the sack record last year, which was pretty cool. And there was, I can't remember who it was against. It might have been the Titans, where he had a sack fumble in the end zone.
It was the Colts.
Right. It was a wild game.
It was the P.J. Walker game.
Yes.
That was the same game that he blocked the kick, I think.
And Gardner Minshew threw for 300
and they win 41-38 or something ridiculous.
It was 41-39. Something like that.
You actually reminded me of another one, watching him play in the All-Star Celebrity Game during NBA All-Star Weekend.
Right.
I took my family because AJ, my son, loved Myles. Loves Myles.
Yeah.
And watching a man that size move like that and jump like that, I'm like, this is not normal.
Oh, I just thought of another one. The fact that he was in a layup line in Summer League with Imani Bates, Sam Merrill, and he was getting out.
How did you manage to get Imani Bates' name into a show the day after Myles Garrett trade?
It in here.
Is Imani Bates still with us?
He's not dead.
Shout out to him.
He's not with the Cavs.
Buy my mixtape in stores. But he was dunking. The fact that they let him get in the layup line at a professional basketball game.
Well, who was going to stop him?
It's crazy though. That's like seeing I don't know. It's like saying Michael Vick was at an Atlanta Hawks game and he was in the layup line doing dunks. That's crazy work. That's crazy.
But is Imani Bates going to say no to Myles Garrett?
No. Listen, shout out to Imani Bates. I don't know where he at right now.
And you know what? You just remind me of another one. He was like a kid when LeBron was in town.
Yeah,
Myles would go in the Lakers locker room when he came back as a member of the Lakers, and Joe and I were talking to LeBron. I mean, obviously Joe and I have had a relationship with LeBron for 10 years, and Myles was standing next to me, and he was like a kid waiting for an autograph, and he was like tunnel vision. It was so funny to watch him. He was awestruck talking to LeBron. And I mean, obviously, I know Myles. I'm in the locker room with him every week. And at the time, we had a fine relationship. And we left the locker room, and Joe's like, "Does Myles know who you are?" I'm like, "Yeah, we talk all the time."
Yeah.
But he was so tunnel vision focused on LeBron. It's like he didn't even see anyone else around him.
And I'm sure LeBron was great with him.
Oh, he's great.
Yeah.
LeBron loves him. And they rep the same company.
Mentioned yet, by the way. And maybe you did mention, I don't think so, but in 2023, their second year doing the show, the Browns beat the Titans pretty good. And Myles, as a defensive player, went in motion. And Tennessee brought their tight end to follow him in motion.
He said that.
All right, that's proof that Mike is not listening to the show.
Yeah, he said that.
I was trying to find a stat.
Yeah.
If you mentioned it already, but I'm watching the video right now.
Yeah.
It is just, they called a
hilarious.
timeout. They brought two tight ends in motion with Myles.
I thought they took a delay. They called timeout? I thought they took a delay.
No, they called timeout.
Oh, okay.
Well, either way, they would have had a delay had they not called the timeout.
I wish we could show this is objectively hysterical.
I know. That's the first thing I thought of.